So today we're gonna tackle slightly different issue with a car. It's called the leaking injector. So what I have discovered recently is that one of my injectors seem to have a lot of diesel around it. Now I know that's not injector seals, that is coming from somewhere on an actual injector. I believe I have another exactly same injector here. I believe it's coming from this place here where the diesel supply, the fuel supply goes on here, and return comes out from here. I think somehow it must have been maybe damaged a little bit or something. It started to leak through the bottom of this fuel supply, and you can see in here, if I lift my engine cover, I can show you. So as you can see here, everywhere we look is fairly nice and dry and clean and as it's supposed to be. And here you can see here, I'll try to make it look better. You can see here it's quite a bit of diesel all around it. And yeah, so what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna be replacing that injector with this spare injector I had for my car. So yeah, I hope you're gonna find this video useful. Let's crack on. I would strongly recommend to first disconnect your battery. Once your battery is disconnected, find yourself a little pliers, because what I'm gonna do today, I'm not gonna be removing air intake manifold. I'm just gonna be removing one injector, and I'm gonna try to do it with an air intake manifold still on. So find yourself a little pliers. Once your battery is disconnected, what you can do, you can disconnect your fuel injector simply by pressing a clip, pulling a clip off it, and just keep it somewhere on the side for now. Right, what we're gonna be doing next, we're using our little pliers to remove the fuel return hoses clip from the injector. I'm using these little pliers because I don't want to lose that little clip, because once you lose it, then it's a trouble to get one. You have to order it from eBay or whatever. So I'm gonna reuse the same one on another injector. What I want to do, I'm gonna literally pull it out, as you can see, right? And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna catch it like that and put it somewhere really safe so I wouldn't lose it. So what we're gonna be doing now is we're gonna be removing a little fuel return from the injector. So I'm using like a flat screwdriver just to hold it on here gently, because you don't want to break them little exits, and just trying to pull it nicely out. And here it is. That's my fuel return out of my injector now. So I'm gonna be doing next is I'm gonna remove this nut from the fuel supply to the injector, which is size 17. So now I have got myself a size 17 spanner, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place it on this and just literally undo it. Comes off easy. Well, first it might be a bit harder, but then it comes off quite easy. The 17mm nut here, you can see where my fuel supply is going into injector and where my fuel returning back to my tank. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna do an actual injector and try to pull it out. There should be enough space here to actually just pull it out and inspect it and replace it with a replacement injector. Before you start to tackle those injector tighten up nuts, let's talk about the size of tools you can use. So the nut which secures injector in place looks like this. Okay, so you see this is a hex key, right? So you can use CRV7 hex key like this. That's probably the best one. If you get something like that, then just put a, you know, your ratchet on it, bang like this, and then you have a good tool to do it. However, if you don't have something like that and you have a I'm gonna try to read it for you, RVT45 Torx key, that can also do the job, because you see it goes nicely in. It's a zero play in it. It would undo it and it would tighten it up when you need to reinstall the new one. So just wanted to show you this. I actually planned to use this, but then all of a sudden I found my usual tool, so I'm quite happy. I'm gonna use this one now. Right, so let's crack on. Right, so we are back to injector, and as you can see we have two of these nuts. So we're gonna undo this anti-clockwise. We're gonna undo one of them and then the other one of them. Right, so once our little sockets is off, just gonna grab them. Little nuts are off the injector. Just put them somewhere safe. And because injector is soaked in a diesel, what you can do, you can just easily remove it. It's not gonna be like any problems with it, probably, because of how it is. There you go, and it comes out nicely, and it's nice and clean because it's all soaked in the diesel. So just pull out and clean up there. So I pulled out my injector. Bloody hell, this is like one of the cleanest injectors I ever seen, to be honest. Right, and now we're gonna clean up the area a little bit, make it a bit more dry. I'm gonna stick injector back in, the new one, the replacement one, and hopefully it'll do the job. Another thing to show you, if your injector seal slide back in a hole, I will try to show you. As you can see, a little copper washer is there laying nicely in the bottom. Don't get too worried about it, don't get too scared about it. It's fine, it happens. What you want to do is you just want to stick a long screwdriver, make sure it sits nice and flat there on the bottom, and then just stick your new injector back in. It's gonna do exactly the same thing. So now we're gonna be inserting a new injector back in a place. Okay, so the injector is now back in his usual spot. What I want to do now is I want to just move my little fuel return thing a little bit out of the way, then put injector like this. Then I'm going to use the same kind of screwdriver, just stick this little fuel return hose back in the same injector place. I'm just gonna push a little bit harder, and it should go nicely in. Right, hello, come on buddy, there you go, it's nicely in. I hope you could see it now. Right, my guys, so just one thing, your little clip, I'll show you a good way to do it. Take a pliers, you grab it on the side of it like this, make sure it's nice and tight, proper grip. What we're gonna do now, until injector is a bit loose still, okay, but your fuel return is already back in, we're gonna use a screwdriver, we're gonna use these pliers, we're gonna line the little connector, little secure clip back in a place. We're gonna use a flat screwdriver, literally push it a little bit, and then it should go in. Most important thing is not to lose this clip. Everything else is fine. So don't rush into it, just do it nice and slowly, and eventually you will succeed. Might take one, might take 2 attempts, might take 3. As you can see now, I hope you can see well, my clip is in a place a little bit. So all I need to do is just put the screwdriver, push a little bit, it clips nicely in. Some people, if you have a local car part shop, whatever, or you have new return hose seals, is a low green seal, just replace those as well. Might as well while you're here, just for, you know, peace of mind. All right, so now once your clip is on, what we're gonna be doing now, we're gonna be reinstalling these nuts back onto injector. So I just pop them on top of the bolts they're supposed to not bolt on. I'm holding them nicely so I wouldn't lose them with pliers on both sides. As you can see here, I'm gonna show you. So now what we have, they are nicely back up on the both sides, one side and the other side. They are there, they're just chilling. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna literally just tighten them up tiny bit. One side and the second side a little bit, but we're not tightening them up properly hard yet. Because what I want to do next is I want to actually adjust my fuel supply, make sure it fits nicely. And at the moment I can twist my injector still tiny little bit if I need to, just to adjust that fuel supply line to go straight nicely in it as it should. So once it's nicely in as it should, then I can actually check it one more time, take a nut, do a nut up with my fingers as hard as I can, and then just leave it there for the time being, because now we're gonna be tightening up our injector nuts. Make sure it's in a nice tight place. So I'm just tightening it up. Don't need to do too tight. I don't know exact torque it needs to be tightened to, so I'm just doing it up. Okay, this looks good enough. Don't need to do it too tight. The nuts is not gonna go on as far as much as you can tighten it up. Just tighten it up decent, like good tension, and that should be all right. Then I'm gonna take my 17 spanner. I'm gonna tighten it up this fuel supply. And now that is nice and tight as well. What I want to do now is I want to run my car for quite a bit, rev it a little bit, and to make sure this one doesn't leak. So what I need to do now is I need to place the connector back onto the injector, clip it back on. Then now what I want to do, I want to connect my battery back on. Now I'm gonna go start the car, run it for a bit, make sure that injector is not leaking. Now the last thing to do is just to go, turn the car on, run it for a little bit and see if there is any fuel leaks or not on the new injector. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start the car, run it for a little bit. My previous injector had very obvious fuel leaks. They would show up straight away. So let's have a look at this one. Now this one seemed to be alright. I don't see no fuel coming out of anything. It's exactly the same like other injectors now, so I'm quite happy with the results. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, please subscribe my channel, because there is tons of videos more to come this year. Thank you.